Once again, ratios were a comparison of two numbers by division. So you basically just write them as a fraction in simplest form. That's how you do ratios for the most part. Okay, so remember, once again, when you need to read out the problem, write the ratio in simplest form that compares the number of circles to the number of triangles. So how many circles do we have? 4. And how many triangles do we have? Altogether? 5. So, can we simplify 4 over 5? No, it's done. Okay, so remember, you have to still explain it. So basically what this means is that for every 4 circles, there are 5 triangles. That's it. And remember, example number 2 is write the ratio in simplest form that compares the number of circles to the total number of figures. All right, so once again, how many circles? 4. And how many total figures altogether? How many are there altogether? 10. Okay, now can that be simplified?
Yes.
Yeah, what are we going to divide by? 2. So you get 2 to 5. So that's your final ratio. Now you just got to be able to explain it. So 2, for every 2 circles, there are 5 total figures. So that's how that works. And yes, you guys can do the bar diagram way. That's totally up to you. I don't like it. It confuses me, makes it more work, and just confuses me all to get out. All right, so I just rather do the fraction way. It makes things a lot easier because you're just so used to simplifying fractions. So remember down at the bottom, so 1, 2, and 3. All right, so number 1, we had 2 guppies to 6 seahorses. So 2 to 6. Okay, what are we going to simplify that one by? Colt? 2. Divide by 2. So we get 1 to 3. Now, that's our final one. That's the one we explained. So for every guppy, there are 3 seahorses. Okay, so that's how those work. Any questions on the ratios? All right, so we are going to move into lesson 3. So lesson 3 was all about rates. Rates are just a ratio that's comparing measurements, right? So a rate would be miles per hour, feet per second, miles per gallon, dollars per food. So like when you go to the grocery store and you buy bananas or something, it's like $3 per pound. That's what we're talking about with rates, all right? So once again, you guys can do the bar diagram way. It's up to you. I'm not going to mark you down if you do it. I'm not going to, I'm probably just going to look at it and be like, okay, they got it, they're good, all right? Because I just like doing it this way, like setting it up as a ratio. Because eventually we're going to get into proportions and all that, and it just makes a lot more sense to do it this way, especially when we start converting between systems, like the metric and customary, which that's a whole nother ballgame. All right, so let's look at this first one here. Example number 1. We're going to skip the whole use the bar diagram. Okay, they said the ratio is 20 students to 5 computers, and they want to write this as a unit rate. So I always start with what came first. So 20 students, and you have to label now. Since it is a rate, we have to label. So 20 students over 5 computers. Okay, we are trying to get a unit rate. A unit rate means you have 1 on the bottom. That is your goal. You want 1 to be on the bottom. So most of the time, whatever the number is on the bottom, that's what you're dividing by. So in this case, what are we dividing by? 5. So I'm going to divide both of these by 5. Okay, so then you get 4 students per computer. So that's how it would be read. You get 4 students per computer. That's how it works out. All right? That's a unit rate. So it's basically the same thing as a bar diagram, but here is just literally simplifying a fraction. It's so much faster, so much easier. That's why I like this method more. All right? So example number 2. Benito ate 48 raisins in 8 minutes. How many raisins did he eat per minute if he ate the same number each minute? So basically, you write it out just like they did here. 48 raisins, 8 minutes. Now we have to divide. We got to get a 1 on the bottom. We want to simplify it. So what are we dividing by? 8. So I divide both of these by 8. We get 6 raisins per minute. So what that means is the unit rate is 6 raisins per minute. So Benito ate 6 raisins every minute.
That's a lot of raisins.
Not really.
I like raisins.
They're weird. Man. All right. So now let's jump down to number 1. So number 1, we have 6 eggs for 3 people. All right. So 6 eggs for 3 people. They want us to write this as a unit rate. So we are going to divide. So what are we dividing by?
By 2.
No.
No, we're not. We're dividing by 3.
3. So we're dividing a 3 out. So 6 divided by 3 would be 2. So we get 2 eggs. Okay, now 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 1 person. I can't spell. So there's your unit rate. 2 eggs per person. So every person that ate breakfast there got 2 eggs. All right, that's what that means. That's how you explain it. You don't have. They don't want you to explain it. It's just that's how you say it. Okay. Now number 4, Mr. Gonzalez spends $135 for 5 bags of groceries. How much does he spend per bag of groceries if each bag costs the same? So we have $135 over 5 bags. So what are we dividing by? 5. So 135 divided by 5. I'm going to just do that up there. So does 5 go into 1? No, but does 5 go into 13?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 times. So 2 times 5 is 10, so I come down here and now I got to subtract. Well, 13 minus 10 is 3. Bring your 5 down. Okay, so then you get 7.
So 27 for 5 bags. But no, it'd actually be 27 for 1 bag.
There you go. Okay, so he paid, Mr. Gonzalez paid $27 per bag. Okay, so that's how it works. So I want you guys to take time and do 2, 3, 5, and 6. So 2, 3, 5, 6. So go ahead and work on those. Okay, number 2, we have $12 for 4 pounds. So $12 goes on top, 4 pounds on the bottom. So what are we going to divide by? Colt?
4, and then you get a 3, which then you.
Where you get 3 at?
Okay, so 12 divided by 4 is a 3.
Okay.
So
3 what?
3, and then
Nope, 3 what? You forgot the label.
3 pounds.
No, it's not 3 pounds. 3 is on top.
$3.
$3.
And then, so the bottom, it's going to be, so divided by 4, it's going to be 1 pounds. Okay?
Okay. So it is $3 per pound. That is the unit rate. $3 per pound. Okay, number 3, we have 40 pages in 8 days. So we need to find it what it is per day. So what are we going to divide by? 8. So we divide an 8 out of both of these, and you get 5 pages 1 day. So that is read as 5 pages per day. Okay, any questions on those 2?
No.
All right, number 5. Miss Terry travels by train to see famous theme parks. She travels at a distance of 728 miles in 8 hours. If the train maintains a constant speed, how many miles does she travel in 1 hour? So what is our initial ratio going to look like? The first one, Eli? So what's the first, what do I write on top?
728.
Yeah. Don't forget the label.
And then 8.
8 hours. Okay, so what are we dividing by to get this simplified all the way down? Eli?
99.
No, what did you divide by?
Oh.
8. You're dividing by 8. Okay, so obviously 8 divided by 8 is going to be just 1, so 1 hour. And now we do the 728 divided by 8. So clearly 8 doesn't go into 7, but it does go into 72. How many times? Tyler? 9 times. So that'd be 72. So we subtract, we get 0. Bring your 8 down. How many times does 8 go into 8? Eli? 1 time. So 1 times 8 is 8. So, and that we subtract, we get 0. So you're left with, so your answer is 91 miles, which is read as 91 miles per hour. So that train was going 91 miles per hour. All right? So that's how those work. Okay, a quarterback throws 222 yards in 6 games. How many yards does he throw in 1 game if he throws the same amount in each game? Well, We're going to set it up as 222 yards on top,
Yep.
6 games on the bottom. Now, we have to divide this out. So what are we dividing by, Tyler? 6. So we get 1 game on the bottom, and now we got to do the 222 divided by 6. So how many times does 6 go into 2? Tyler?
3.
6 goes into 2 3 times?
Oh no.
No, it doesn't work. So I was trying to get you to say that. So now 22, it goes 3 times. Okay, that goes over the second 2, just like that. Now 3 times 6 is 18, so we subtract. 22 minus 18 is 4. Bring down your 2. How many times does 6 go into 42?
It goes into 7 times.
7.
And you could also make it even harder on
No.
5.
Quit talking.
You bring the yellow.
Okay, so you get 37 yards per game. So that quarterback threw 37 yards per game. That's the unit rate.
Oh,
Okay? So now, talking about rates, we're going to move into ratio tables.
wait.
4 was all about ratio tables. So a ratio table basically just takes all the information from the ratios and puts them into columns. Okay? It makes things a little bit more organized. All right, so we're also going to be talking about equivalent ratios. Now, equivalent ratios look like this. So if you had 3 to 4 and 12 to 16, all right, to prove that these are equivalent ratios, you have to see what this simplifies down to. So what can you divide out of both of these? Tyler? 4. You're going to divide a 4 out. Okay, so we get 3 to 4. If you notice, they're the same ones once you simplify, but they don't look the same in the beginning. Okay, that's what it means to be equivalent ratios. Equivalent fractions, equivalent ratios, it's basically the same concept. Because these two are basically the same once you simplify them all the way down. They're just not right now. Okay, that's what it means to be equivalent. So, back on the front side, example number 1. You need 1 cup of rolled oats to make 24 oatmeal cookies. It says use the ratio table below to find out how many oatmeal cookies you can make with 5 cups of oats. All right, so that's what we're trying to get to. So they gave us the rate. For every cup that we put in there, we gain 24 extra cookies. All right, because it's 24 cookies per cup of oats. So, knowing that, every time we add a cup, we add 24 cookies. So if we're trying to go from 1 to 5, what do you think this next one's going to be? What number?
2.
2 cups. How many? What do you think we're going to put here? 3. What about here?
4, 5.
Okay. So we've got all the way. So we've gotten all our cups now. We know that 1 cup is 24. So basically we just added 1 each time. Sometimes a ratio table is just that easy. You literally just add 1. Okay? Now down here, our rate was 24 cookies per cup. So every time we gain a cup, we add 24 cookies. So what are we adding down here if we got 2 cups now? What are we adding? How many cookies?
We're adding 24.
Yeah, we're adding 24 each time. So how many is 2 cups going to get us? 48. How many is 3 cups going to get us? 72. 4 cups?
96.
96. And then 5 cups?
120.
120. So the ratio table was just trying to get to this answer right there. Cold. Okay, so 5 cups of oats will get us 120 cookies. That's what that recipe calls for. That's that rate. So now, the only difference you might see on these is the next part. It's talking about scaling. Okay, scaling means you either have to get to a number below it so you can work with that, like example number 2. Okay, a department store has socks on sale for 4 pairs for $10. It says use the ratio table at the right to find the cost of 6 pairs of socks. So basically we got to go from 4 to 6. Okay, is there like a whole number that you can multiply 4 by to get to 6? No, there's not. It's not possible. You can't multiply it that. It just doesn't work. So, knowing that, we have to find a number that goes into both 4 and 6 by scaling back, by dividing. So we got to divide now. What is a number that's smaller than 4 and 6 that it goes into both of them?
5.
No.
It goes in there.
What number goes into both of them? 2.
Whoa.
Okay, so like I said, we start with this 4 to 10. Okay, that was the rate they gave us. That was the one. You always start with the one in the middle. All right. Now we had to scale back to get to 2 because we couldn't multiply anything to 4 to get to 6. Now what we had to divide by 2. Now it's just like a fraction. Whatever you do the top, you got to do the bottom. So since we divided by 2 up here, you got to do the same thing down here. What's 10 divided by 2? 5. Okay. So now we know that 2 pairs of socks cost $5, but we still don't know how many 6 pairs is. Okay, so now we go from 2 to 6. How do we get from 2 to 6? What do we have to do to that 2?
We have to
Tyler?
multiply by 3.
Yeah, multiply by 3. 3 times 2 gets you 6, so that's what you got to do. Whatever you do at the top, you got to do the bottom. So 5 times 3 is 15. So that means that 6 pairs of socks is going to cost you $15. That's what that means. So on certain ratio tables, you have to divide and multiply. But you have to either scale forward or scale back. You have to find a number that works for both of them. So what I want you to do now is I want you guys to go ahead and do 1 and 2 at the bottom. So 1 and 2. Fill those ratio tables to answer the problem. All right, go ahead and get started.